Hello everybody, I hope all is great in your worlds. I seem to have a good connection to YouTube, everything is great, so let's record this video. So I wanted to continue our conversation that we had in our lecture about phase relationships. And I guess I'm gonna move my camera to this side. I guess that's gonna be more useful. So yesterday I was recording this jazz band, this explosive jazz band, and I want to share quickly with you how I would approach to the task of checking phase, which is one of the most important things to do in Pro Tools, and to make sure that it's one of the most important tasks in mixing in general, and to make sure that everything is running well and that we have nice phase relationship between the instruments. The main focus here is going to be kick and snare. I will do further tutorials in the future, about how to sync and make sure that the phase relationships are correct for other instruments, but this is going to be mostly focused on the kick and the snare. So let me just do something real quick here. Great. So now I have kick, snare here. I have 3 microphones on the snare. Like I was telling you, this was a pretty explosive jazz band I was recording yesterday, and I have a bass guitar. I'm going to focus on, like in the task I gave to my students who are watching this, I'm going to focus on the kick and on the snare separately. So I tried to do this in Ableton last week in the lecture, and I noticed that Ableton is really not well equipped for this task, even though of course Ableton is a great program, but Pro Tools is just better equipped for this. So firstly, I'm going to grab here this place where the inflection point of the curve comes, and then I'm going to come kind of to this point, you see, to be sure that both inflection points are in the same place. And then, let me just pull this back here. And then I'm gonna come and see, oh, look, they're both out of phase. So one of the things I can do is just to put a plugin here that has any kind of like phase correction capacities. And you can just flip the phase here and it would be running in the plugin. But my favorite way to do this is with some sort of like rendering, because it's a process that you for sure wanna do. You always want to save processing power, so I would just render the track because I'm really sure about that. So now I have a situation in which both of them start on a downwards journey, then upwards, and the kick and the kick far and the kick in are in phase together. Now let's have a look at how that sounds. Let me make sure that I'm not listening to anything else. Okay. Gotta check out that I got all my solos in place and correctly, and the drums. Yeah, okay, so that's when I corrected for phase. That's before. And that's how it was when it was moved. Let's hear it initially. Doesn't sound together. Now let's reverse it and put it how it should be. I think that I may be tricked a little bit. I think it would be cool to have a look at this a bit closer. Yeah, maybe I can move it a little bit to the right so maximum inflation point is together with it now that they're in phase. And then in general have a look and make some sort of statistical analysis. Now let me flip the phase here. I feel more low end, to be honest, I feel more low end when I do that. So let's review this. And also when I look at them from far away, you see like this peak, very long peak down here seems to be, further away. So one of the possibilities that I have is that perhaps because these are different mics, you see, it's important to use your ears because there are different mics. I was fooled a little bit, I think, by what my eyes were telling me. So, oh no. Wait, I think that everything was cool. No, yeah. So now let's flip the phase with this render option. And now you see, like when you start looking at the waveform, you see low peak, low peak, low peak. Everything seems to be better, and it also sounds better. Let me flip the phase again. Yeah, I hear more low-end content. So now they're in phase. What we learned with this video is that it's really important, you know, to pay attention to what our ears are telling us. I think, yeah. Because remember, they are going to be different mics. One of them is kick out and the other one is kick in. I can also work this out a little bit better. Oh man, I'm having second thoughts. This is not an easy process that you sort out just in one go. I'm going to, in this case, look, you see, I moved along a little bit. I mean, I'm trying to find the truth, right? So I know I'm kind of like dancing upside down, but I'm starting to feel a little bit more confident that the correct way to do this is to just move around where I was and check out another data point. You know, this is like a big data analysis. And then have another phase flip here. I don't lose or gain anything in terms of the signal. I mean, to be honest, this looks more correct. They are different signals, but man, like this is definitely more correct than the previous option that I had, even though I was confused. I mean, the point is, make a cool, very long zoom as long as you can. Then have a look, you know, at how the waveforms look like. Then start working, you know, like sometimes, you know, because the mics are slightly different and the position is different, you may be fooled by what you see and hear, but you need to check several points along your data set, which is your waveforms, and then you see, man, like this is, I'm really confident now that the phase is correct, because I mean, I zoomed in several points and I realized that, okay. So that's pretty cool. I got the kick done. Now let's do the snare. Let's have a look at the snare. So in this case, I see like a beginning that is going downwards, a snare bottom that is very far away from the beginning of my other snare track. So I could be here, and let's just pull it back and see what's going on. So I first aligned them, and then I have a look at what's going on. Now they go up, up, up. Now this doesn't seem to be like such a good place to measure my data. Let's move to another place. Let's reduce the zoom level. So now look, you see? Oh, that's pretty interesting. Snare top seems to be out of phase from snare bottom and snare mid. I have 3 snares. I just decided to record it like that because I wanted to hear it. I wanted to hear what's up. So I'm checking several data points. Yep, it's looking, I'm confirming my intuition, what I saw in the first one. Let's make a little bit more of waveform zoom. Yeah, it all looks like we got, like in here it's getting confusing because it seems like snare bottom has a different phase relationship, but this seems to be, let me have a look, a kick hit. Yeah, that's normal. The phase, the snare bottom is under the snare and closer to the kick, and will have most likely a different relationship in comparison to the kick. But when I look at this, I'm starting to get more and more and more suspicions that snare top and snare bottom are in different phase. Yeah, so I'm sure of that. Now let's flip the phase. Again, you can just put a plugin here. You can use a channel strip and flip the phase here. That's cool. Or you can just grab here your EQ, whatever you want, that will give you the chance to reverse the phase. Or you can put it there in as a plugin. Or you can just, my favorite way, just grab your plugin that can render. You know, in the case of Pro Tools, is in the audio suite, and just render it and see it changing phase. So puff, now I have them all in phase. Now, about alignments, you know, man, I gotta be honest with you. Like sometimes things sound better when they're in the precise same place. Sometimes they don't. It's just a matter of using your ears. I don't have time right now to go through everything, like in that sense, but let's have a listen to how that snare sounds. Yeah, yeah, now it's better phase relationship than before. Whoa, that's amazing. You see how it disappears? Now let's see the snare bottom. Yeah, now it all seems to be correct with the snare. Happiness. Now let's have a look at the bass. So in the bass guitar, it's a pretty, like I was telling you before, it's a pretty explosive jazz band. So they do a lot of crazy stuff. So you see I have some very weird bass there. So it would be hard to judge the dimensions of the first track. I mean, sorry, the characteristics of the first track, because I have a bass DI track. And I'm comparing it with a bass microphone track, but you can start seeing some trends here. They seem to be out of phase. So we have a very distorted moment here. Let's see this moment that is less kind of like affected by the pedals. Because remember, this DI signal, it's coming from the pedals. So it's a very different signal. Now let's start looking at some trends. Down, up, down, up. Seems like this is out of phase. Down, up, down. So let's grab this guy. Grab my audio suite. Go to here and flip the phase. Boom. Now let's have a listen. So in the second option, I have way much more low-end content. And that means that I have corrected the bass, the phase relationship of the bass. So let's just put this kick. That's a normal balance. Oh, I was talking there and you can hear me. Let me see what happens if I all of a sudden reverse the phase of the mic, of the snare, for example. You immediately hear how when I flip the phase, now that the phases are correct, the snare kind of disappears a bit on the mix. Check it out again. Now imagine trying to mix with that. I mean, you just will make your snare practically existent if they are out of phase. Let's have a look on, is that, I mean, I need to work it out a little bit better, but that the phase is now correct. Well, I hope this tutorial was useful for you. Write me any questions or comments. I'm ready for you guys. I hope you have a great